So, a couple years back, I started collecting Pokemon cards and kind of going back to my childhood and starting from the beginning. But more specifically, I was getting every single bug type card from the beginning all the way to, well, I stopped a while ago in terms of the cost is getting pretty crazy for some of these cards. But, like, point being is that, going back to my childhood, reliving some of these cards and the bug type Pokemon are my favorite in the series. So I thought it would be fun to take a step back, right? Start from the beginning, looking back from base set and moving all the way up and looking at all the different bug type Pokemon and seeing which ones are my favorites, which ones are strong, which ones are interesting, look at the art, talk about some of the historical pieces, as we go along. And important clarification here is I'm not really going to be talking a lot about competitive by any means. My knowledge of competitive Pokemon varies vastly, with some knowledge of like retro format stuff with like base set and fossil and jungle, and then it skips all the way to like black and white era stuff. And then after that, it's sort of vaguely X and Y, and then like a little bit of Sun and Moon at the beginning, but then really after that it falls off in terms of my knowledge of what's good and what's not in the competitive game of Pokemon. So when I talk about some of these cards, it's really going to be more about for fun and not really whether or not the cards were game breaking or meta or competitive in their time. Because most likely they weren't, and if they were, I might know about it, but otherwise I probably don't. If as I am journeying through these sets, if any of them do have a significant meta relevance, I might, find it and talk about it. But for the most part, it's probably not going to happen. So why don't we just go ahead and get started? So base set or expansion pack released January 9th in 1999 in America and October 20th, 1996 in Japan. The blurb for this set is put the power in your hand with the Pokemon trading card game. The hugely successful Pokemon Game Boy game was just the beginning of the Pokemon phenomenon. Now with the trading card game, you could train your favorite Pokemon to pit them against a rival's Pokemon in a fight to the finish. Increase their powers with energy, and your Pokemon will launch the special attacks you've seen in the popular Pokemon animated TV show. Choose your favorite Pokemon from the random cards in this booster pack to customize a Pokemon theme deck or starter set. Or design your own undefeatable deck by combining prized Pokemon and trainers. The possibilities are endless. Do you have the skills to become the world's #1 Pokemon master? Master the Pokemon trading card game and find out. Now, the other thing about base set is that it was printed a bunch of different times. Down there on the screen, you'll see a bunch of different fire energies, and those are the different prints of the game. Starting with the Japanese print all the way to the left, which has a different card border, as you'll see. And then the first one is first edition after that. Our first edition run of the set, which will have a first edition logo. Then we have Shadowless, which Shadowless is basically right after first edition, and the cards have like a thinner text for like the HP and some of the attacks and stuff. And also there are no shadows on the borders on some of the card art and stuff. Then there's the Unlimited print, and then there's the fourth print, which is after Unlimited. But basically, there was many different prints to this set, which has created a variance of what is hunted for in base set or expansion pack. A lot of people go after first edition, a lot of people go after Shadowless, all up to preference, but all are worth looking after. Our first bug, our common encounter in this case, is a Caterpie. So our first ever Caterpie is a 40 HP basic Pokemon with a weakness to fire, no resistances, and a retreat cost of 1, with a single attack that deals 10 damage for a single grass energy, and on a successful coin flip, makes the defending Pokemon paralyzed. Pretty good for early aggression, especially if you get that coin flip successful. They cannot attack or retreat, which is quite nice. This is featuring the classic Ken Sugimori artwork of Caterpie on the front, with some odd, like almost grassy swirl kind of forming around it. Pretty interesting art style, honestly. I don't know if I'm that in love with it personally. Mostly just because I'm not super high on cards that just feature the essentially basic stock art of the games. It's a bit of a controversy with people about the Kensuke Mori art, whether like in the early days is it like nice that we have cards that feature his artwork, or is it like annoying because as it goes on other cards are kind of lazily stapled on with that artwork that they got from like the games, you know what I mean? Now there is an interesting thing with Caterpie and a few other cards of base set is that they have misprints. So the misprint of Caterpie and a couple others of this set is that in the early runs, some of them featured HP 40 instead of 40 HP, so the text is reversed. On top of, instead of saying height, it says length for some of these early cards, which is pretty interesting. Overall, this card's pretty cute, and the attack is quite nice. Next, we have Metapod, our evolution for Caterpie, another common encounter in this case. This is a Stage 1 Pokemon evolving from our Caterpie, with a weakness to fire, a retreat cost of 2, and a hefty 70 HP, which is quite beefy for the time, and 2 different attacks. It has Stiffen for 2 colorless. You, on a successful coin flip, will prevent all damage done to Metapod during your opponent's next turn, which is honestly quite nice. On top of that, we have Stun Spore after for 2 grass energy. On a successful coin flip, you make the defending Pokemon paralyzed, as well as dealing 20 damage. Overall, the cocoons are kind of really good in this base set. Like, the high HP threshold, being able to deal a very good status condition, or just outright negate damage while you're waiting for your Beedrill, or, well, Beedrill for Kakuna, but then Butterfree, which Butterfree's not in base set. It's weirdly in Jungle, so we're not covering Butterfree in this video, but interestingly enough, again, just weirdly omitted in this case. But overall, really solid card. Next, we have our friend Weedle, a common encounter with 40 HP, a weakness to fire, a retreat cost of 1, and a single attack of Poison Sting for 1 grass energy, dealing 10 damage, and on a successful coin flip, the defending Pokemon is now poisoned. Poison being is that every subsequent turn, after you pass turn and then they pass turn, every time that happens, it will be taking 10 additional damage. Poison is quite nice to acquire, and this is a really solid, like, early aggressive move that can disrupt some of the opponent's plays. So this is quite nice. This one features our first unique art, done by the very influential Mitsuhiro Arita. Mitsuhiro Arita is a freelance illustrator who has been providing artwork for the card game since its very inception. Overall, they have done 637 illustrations for the card game, and also they have done 6 cards for the trading card game Pocket game as well. They do attribute the base set Pikachu and Charizard artworks they provided for this set being a huge effect on their career, which makes sense. Overall, this is probably my favorite art of the set. Mostly because it's one of the only unique ones we're going to be talking about today. And it's really cute. Solid, nice set piece. I'm enjoying the Weedle resting on the tree with some nice, like, gritty looking painting style tree behind it. Just, it looks nice. Next, we have Kakuna. This is our first uncommon encounter that we will have in this journey in our retrospect. Kakuna evolves from Weedle and is a Stage 1 Pokemon with 80 HP, quite beefy, with a weakness to fire, no resistances, and a retreat cost of 2, with similar abilities to Metapod, but slightly different. It has Stiffen, the same ability as Metapod, being that on a successful coin flip, you prevent all damage done to Kakuna during your opponent's next turn. Also, it has Poison Powder for 2 grass energy. On a successful coin flip, you make the defending Pokemon poisoned and deal 20 damage. Again, the cocoons are shockingly good 80 HP is really solid. The ability to stall and disrupt with poison, or in the case of Metapod, paralysis, is quite good while you're waiting for your B-Drill. Now, in the case of Kakuna, its artwork was done by Keiji Kinebuchi, and you'll notice it's kind of got this, like, 3D style, where it's, like, resting on a leaf, but looks like it's glowing like it might be evolving in this artwork. Keiji Kinebuchi, which passed away in 2002, is a 3D illustrator that worked for the trading card game and is mostly responsible for all the, like, beginning trainer cards of the era, which, I mean, if you go and look back at, like, early trainer cards and, like, certain Pokemon, you'll note the, like, 3D art style. But also, like, it makes a lot of his stuff really recognizable immediately, knowing that he's the one attributed to these contributions for the card game. Due to limitations of 3D software of the time, he really was mostly responsible for, like, simpler designed Pokemon, which makes sense with Kakuna being that it's just a cocoon. So that's really, you know, straightforward for why that would be given to him as part of the project. But also he is credited for inviting Mitsuhiro Arita on to do the project for the TCG. So Keiji, thank you very much for inviting a very prolific artist. And also thank you for your pivotal work in the early days of the card game. I'm sure we'll be looking at a lot of your artwork as we go along, and even if we don't, we can appreciate Kakuna for all that it has given to us. Fantastic artwork. And lastly, we have B-Drill for today. This is our rare encounter. B-Drill is a stage 2 that comes from Kakuna, featuring 80 HP, pretty beefy, a weakness to fire, and a crucial resistance to fighting. Again, with my sporadic knowledge of competitive, this card does boast a crucial resistance to prolific cards of the era, like Hitmonchan. So, Haymaker, not happening under this guy's watch. Fully negating that Haymaker ability, just saying. Then it has 2 different attacks. For 3 colorless, with Twin Needle, you flip 2 coins, and it does 30 damage times the number of heads, so upwards of 60 with this one, which is quite nice. And then for 3 grass energy, it can do Poison Sting, which on a successful coin flip makes the defending Pokemon poisoned and deals 40 damage. Overall, this card's quite solid. I really like the attacks on it. It's featuring that iconic Ken Sugimori artwork with a Beedrill kind of floating there in a forest floral location. My favorite bit about this card, actually, is its misprint, which, as if you look at the 2 cards on screen, you notice the one on the right has a slight error in its Poison Sting printing, where it says D. offending. So there's a period, for whatever reason, right after the D in defending. So that's quite cool. Overall, for me, our favorite catch of the day is going to be the misprint Beedrill. I really like this card. I love this misprint. I actually want to get my hands on it. I don't have this misprint, and now knowing that it exists, I would love to have it. So yeah, that's going to be our favorite catch for today. And overall, that is going to do it for now, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in the beginning of this exploration of the Pokemon TCG through the lens of the bug type, my favorite type. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, leave your thoughts down below as we continue to explore the different many sets ahead of us for the Pokemon TCG. And I hope to see you guys in the next video. Leave a like and your thoughts down below, and subscribe if you haven't yet to support the channel. But more importantly than that, your time watching these videos is the most valuable thing you can give to me, and I appreciate your time every time you watch these videos. I hope you guys have a good one. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.